Welcome to Sew with Monty. Today I'm going to show you how to put in an invisible zipper without an invisible zipper foot. There's actually a way to do this. First thing I've done, I've cut two little samples of fabric. Each one is 5 inches wide by 10 inches tall. So this would represent maybe the center back of a pair of pants, a skirt, something where you'd be using an invisible zipper. Now let's talk about the zipper itself. When you purchase an invisible zipper, you're not going to see any of the coil on the top. The fabric is going to go seam to seam and look like just a seam where your tape joins together. On the back side, you'll see a coil that resembles any zipper that you might purchase. Now the first thing you're going to do is not sew up the bottom of your garment. You're going to leave it open so that this is allowed to put the zipper in. Then you come back and sew it up at the very end. The first thing we're going to do though, we're going to go to the iron, and I'm going to show you how to press the zipper, because pressing is very important so that we can get access to sewing right up under the teeth. So let's go to the iron and I'll show you the next step. Now we're ready to press the teeth of our zipper open. And if you look, I'm going to try to do this so you can see. If you look under here, when I press the teeth open like this, there's a little crease line running right behind the teeth right there. I don't know if you can see it or not. That's going to be your seam line. You're going to sew right on that crease. So we're going to take the zipper and we're just going to gently press it. It's a little stubborn, so you may have to press it a couple of times to get it to open up. And you want it to open up all the way. Now once you've pressed the zipper, don't zip it back up, because it will remember how it used to be once it's zipped back up, and you'll have to go press it again. So don't zip it back up before you sew it in. You want to get it nice and flat. See how I'm pressing there? And you can kind of see now there's a little crease running right here. That's going to be your sew line on the zipper. So I'm just going to keep pressing it all the way down. I like to pin it so I don't burn my fingers, but once I've gotten pressed out pretty good, then I unpin. Now you can only go so far because you have the zipper pull down here. Remember, when you're buying an invisible zipper, buy it just an inch or so longer than you actually need it, so that you can sew it in without having to deal with the zipper pull. Okay, so I've got that side, and you can kind of see the difference now. See, this one's not been pressed, and this one has, so it's flat, and you can kind of see that line. I hope in the light you can see the line there that we're going to sew on. So now we're going to press this other side. So I'm going to take the pins, and I'm going to pin it down. I want to get this one out of the way. I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to pin this side down, and I'm going to press this one open. And once I have both sides open, then I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine and sew it in. So this zipper doesn't have to be so scary once you learn this little trick, because then you can use your regular zipper foot and it does a beautiful job of sewing it in. It's just a matter of going slow and staying right on that little fold line. And you want to press good. It's stubborn, so it doesn't want to open up quite a way. And you have to keep pressing it to get it to open up. Give it a little steam. See, there it goes. And then once you have it open, I'll try to do this left-handed. Once you have it open and pressed real good, whoop, watch that steam, then you can go over to your sewing machine and start sewing. There we go. So now I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to show you how to put the zipper in. I'm ready to put my zipper on my little fabric samples, and the idea is that you want it to look like this when it's finished. So you're going to put face together, right sides together, the front of the zipper to the front of your fabric. Now my zipper is only about 3/8 inch wide, so I'm going to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance, so I want it to come in from the edge about 1/8 of an inch. And I don't know if you can see it in this light, but that's where we're going to sew, is right along that little fold line, where it's a little bit lighter and then the darker tape. That's where we want to sew. And we need to go slow, so I'm going to turn my speed down a little bit. And I'm going to sew right in that little fold line, that little crease. And I'm going to go as close to the bottom as I can get, and I'll explain to you when we get down there about buying a zipper that's slightly longer than you really need. Like if you need a 24-inch zipper, then you want to buy a 26-inch zipper or a little longer. It's easy to trim it, but if you don't have enough zipper, you're not going to be able to get down there, because you can only go so far close to this zipper tab. So I want to get down here and make sure I've got this pinned really good here. The pressing and the pinning is the trickiest part of this whole thing, because once you've got it set, the sewing is pretty easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go down through here. I'm going to set my needle up and make sure it's going to go right in that crease. Very important that it goes right in that crease. And I'm going to start at the very top, and I'm going to give it a little back stitch. I'm going slow, so if you need to set your machine at a slower pace, if you have that option on your machine, go for it. And just stay right in that crease. It's very important because that's what's going to keep it from showing the teeth or the tape when you're finished. So I'm just sewing as close to that as I can get, that little crease. And just go slow. There's no rush on this. But the secret to doing this without a zipper foot, or an invisible zipper foot, is to press. So you just press that thing as flat as you can get it, and don't zip it back up. Don't forget to zip it back up after you press it, because it'll remember where it wants to be, and it'll go back to its shape, and you'll have to repress it again. So don't zip it back up once you've got it pressed open. Now I can only go so far. This is what I'm talking about. So if I want my zipper opening to be like 7 inches, let's say, I'm buying a 9-inch zipper. So you want to buy the next size up zipper for whatever opening you want. See, I can't get much closer than that, so I'm kind of done right there. And then I'm just going to back up a little bit, and we're going to go and sew the other side. See? Just right in that little crease. Now I'm going to take it over to the other side. Now it's time to sew the other side of our zipper in. So I've got it pinned, again, right sides together, right side of the zipper to the right side of my fabric. And this gets a little confusing, so you want to lay it out and make sure when you're all pinned in that you look like this. So you can visualize sewing or zipping the zipper up and that it would complete the seam. Now to do this, I have got my zipper foot on the other side. Now you have the option of just sewing from the lower part up. I find that if I sew in the same direction both times, my zipper seems to fit a little better and my fabric doesn't move around on me. So I'm going to start at the very top, and I'm sewing right in the fold line. Going slow, so we're just going to start off nice and slow, do a little back stitch, and then come on down through here. Now you want to make sure that you place your zipper the same height away from the top edge of your fabric as you do this side, so that they're even and they're laid out flat. Otherwise, you're going to have one side of your fabric too low or too high. And I'm just pushing my zipper back out of the way and sewing right in that little crease where we pressed. And you just want to go as close to the teeth, staying in the crease. Now you don't want to go up on your teeth. Be careful not to sew up on your teeth, or your zipper won't zip up. So if you do that, stop, get it off the teeth, and then go back in there and realign yourself. It's okay. The first time you do it, if you have a little trouble, that's all right. It's something you have to practice at. Now, if you have a invisible zipper foot, the nice part about it is it has a little coiled tunnel on the bottom that actually rides right over top of this zipper coil, so that it just feeds it right through there and you don't have to guide it yourself. But I wanted to show you this method because you don't always have a invisible zipper foot, and I think it's good to know just in case. Now, our zipper's put in. It's just 2 seams, 2 very accurate seams, see, right in the little folds where you want to be. And after we're done with that, we're going to check it to make sure it does what we want it to do. So I'm turning it over to this side, and I want to check my zipper and make sure it works before I sew up the tail part. So I'm just going to zip it up, and you can see it looks just like a seam. You can't even see the zipper, and that's a hot pink zipper in a green fabric, but you still can't see it. It looks very nice. So that's what you want to have. It's a little difficult at first, but once you get that zipper pressed open really flat and you sew right in the fold, you can do this without an invisible zipper foot. That being said, if you have an invisible zipper foot, by all means use it. It's not a problem to use it. Now we're going to sew up the very bottom. So I'm going to pull the zipper out of the way, and I want to come in here and I want to sew my seam up to right here. So I'm going to go through here. Now sometimes, depending on your fabric, if you're working on something really delicate, You might find that your fabric, you're going to need to do a little hand stitching at the base of the zipper. But I'm going to move it over so that it's right on the left side, and I'm going to go back to my left needle position so that I can get in there, and I'm just going to sew the bottom edge of this fabric together. You don't want to sew up your seam of an invisible zipper. If you do have a zipper, let's say in a long skirt, and you want to put it together, the skirt together somewhat before you get the zipper in, you can do that, but leave yourself about 3 inches below the zipper to sew up this seam here. And you just go really close there. See how close I am? And when I get right up there, where I overlap that zipper, I just back up a little bit, and that's it. This takes a little practice, but once you've got this, it's very simple. It's 3 seams. The right side of the zipper, the left side of the zipper, and then the seam below the zipper. So this will be pressed open. See? That'll get pressed open there. And our zipper's in there, and that's an invisible zipper.